Okay, so it seems that there's been a little bit of a situation update with this entire VTuber situation that's been going down over on Twitter lately, and this is to do with someone called ChaChaChilla. Now, essentially, if you don't know, they recently went pretty crazy online. We covered it in my previous video, if you guys want to go watch that. But essentially, they tried to call out a lot of people, including a agency called Socks Agency, which is run by a person called Flork, who makes a lot of comics and stuff. And essentially, yeah, they were trying to go after them and some of their talent for like very specific reasons, which again, obviously was extremely weird. And one of them essentially saying that the word inferior was kind of offensive towards disabled people, just saying it like randomly without any context, right, was offensive towards disabled people, which it's not, you know. Obviously, I said in my previous video, if you were saying it straight to a disabled person with the intent of telling them they're inferior, then sure, that would be offensive, but let's be real, you know, nobody is doing that. And in the clip that she provided, you know, they're not doing that, right? They're literally kind of role-playing in a Minecraft server, and it all got a little bit ridiculous with her trying to call this out, and essentially it being like some big cancel of this VTuber and this VTuber agency, right? Now, this has actually been taken down. This post actually got removed, and she took it down after a lot of the backlash that she got. Again, we looked at it, at the time I looked at it, it had over 600,000 views and only like 60 likes, which is pretty insane. I've never seen anything like that before. But yeah, obviously there's been some updates now, and people are even more unhappy because it seems like they're now trying to farm a little bit of sympathy. Now, I don't know how true this is, right? Again, they could genuinely be having a problem here, but essentially they said, I'll be heading off to the hospital soon and won't have access to my phone. So yeah, obviously this is after all of the situation, and this also has a very terrible view to like ratio, because everybody knows that, you know, straight after this drama and all of this stuff has happened, you know, they're going to the hospital. I mean, how likely is that to really happen? Now, obviously we've seen a similar situation like this happen recently with Shondo, and obviously a lot of people are also skeptical about this, but the thing is with Chacha here, it seems like this is something that they do quite often, right? This is, you know, they get a little bit of backlash online for posting something pretty dumb, and then they go, I'm going to the hospital, and essentially try to farm sympathy points for, you know, obviously getting some backlash, right? And I think it is pretty ridiculous if that is the case. Now, obviously, sure, if they are genuinely in the hospital and things are not great, then sure, I hope they do get better, right? But again, it just doesn't seem like the case. You know, even there's a community note here saying the picture OP provided in the subtweet is not them. It is very highly likely they are lying for pity. They are also a known liar to gain social equity, which obviously is, yeah, this tweet here, which they provide as proof. And yeah, again, we'll just go into it because, again, this is the picture they also provide, which, yeah, is a kind of emoji over the top. Now, one thing that, you know, you kind of notice whenever it comes to stuff, and this tweet notices as well, is the fact that the picture actually has pink hair. You can see there in the corner, they have pink hair. It is dyed in some way, and throughout all of their posts, right, because they do post their IRL self, not their actual face, but you can see what color their hair is, right, and it is brown. You know, their hair is brown, and you know, unless they've done some kind of last minute dye thing, you know, I don't think, you know, that is them. I don't think that is them in the picture. Now, there has been a lot of people as well following up with other posts. I don't know if it's down here. Obviously, you can see here, these are the posts that they post on their page with them having brown hair, and also it's short, which is another thing. Obviously, this was taken in October, right? And you can see it's very short, like kind of like a, you know, up to like here, maybe, like very, 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 very short. And this one is quite long, you know, it's going quite long. And again, I just don't believe that her hair grew that much in the course of like a month, right? Which is pretty insane. There has been some people sharing a picture. I don't know if it's in here, but there's another place essentially kind of sharing the yeah, this picture here, right? This is the picture that a lot of people have been sharing, which people are saying is the image that they stole. Obviously, they're not saying this is their face or anything. They're saying that they stole this from an online person, which isn't the case. This is actually AI. It's kind of obvious to see, especially considering this monitor here. You can see it's kind of in an L shape. It just doesn't make sense for it to be like that, especially whenever you compare it to the actual picture. Again, it seems like, yeah, someone's like AI'd it from there to kind of fit them in. So again, that is not real. So if you have been seeing that going around, just to make that clear, and obviously that has been community noted as well, which is great. community notes doing their work there. And yeah, obviously a lot of people are very unhappy at how, you know, she's kind of handled this. And if the photo is fake, again, if the photo is fake, I'm not saying it's 100% fake, but let's be real, I've pointed out all of the kind of indicators here. You know, it's not looking exactly the best. If it is fake, you know, that just looks even worse for her, because again, it seems like she's trying to farm sympathy just to kind of, you know, get out of a sticky situation that she's found herself in, trying to cancel a VTuber agency or some VTubers within an agency, right? There's also been some reactions from other VTubers as well, including Lucia, who obviously, you know, obviously was the SMP owner, right? This was all caused on a Minecraft SMP. All of this happened on a Minecraft SMP, and I'm pretty sure Lucia was a big involvement in it, and in terms of how it went, because they even put up a post saying, you know, they enjoyed their overall time despite everything that's gone on. I said, I've been trying to write some things that encompasses my feelings on the all recent situation, but it's so hard. I feel so incredibly guilty for allowing someone like that into our event, and I apologize deeply for all the strife that it's caused. I don't want to hurt. I don't want to talk on it further, as an official statement was made by Nikita. But I want to express my guilt and apology at the very least. I hope that people can realize how amazing Invasion Parasite was despite this, as well as our incredible staff team is. So yeah, obviously they are disappointed that the event has kind of been overshadowed by you know, this kind of drama which has gone on, instead of how good the event was and what they actually did in there, which obviously, yeah, I can understand is sad, right? A lot of people saying, this is the main issue with VTubing. It's extremely easy for a bad actor just to delete their old account and rebrand. At this point, it might be a good idea to start a wiki for these kind of people, as they constantly do this only to start stuff again. Obviously, a lot of people saying none of this is your fault. Obviously, these are SOX members. So none of this is your fault. With an event this size, it's unfortunate, but there will always be some rotten eggs that fall in the basket. You know, people saying it's been years since I felt comfortable enough to join a multi-content creator event. You guys made me feel comfortable enough to not only show up the first day, but the last as well. So again, a lot of people kind of giving their support and saying, hey, it's not your fault, it's a very big event, which is 100% true. And obviously they mention a post from Nikita, and this is something that we briefly touched on in the previous video, but essentially they say, I'm the staff member who personally handled ChaCha's ticket regarding this matter. I feel it's important to clarify the timeline and the facts of our investigation for the public record. Say initial contact, this issue began with ChaCha posting a call out in the public Wilders faction Discord channel, tagging ad-free. I removed that post to de-escalate public tension, and immediately reached out to ChaCha privately to explain that public callouts can create a hostile environment. Protocol, I directed her to open an official ticket so the admin team could review the issue properly and fairly. We went to the ticket she opened before and continued the conversation there. Upon reviewing the original evidence provided in the ticket prior to her public post, we found no evidence of malicious behavior or targeted harassment towards ChaCha. Misidentification. Crucially, the individual speaking in the evidence provided for review is not ad-free. So again, it's not even ad-free in the first place. This is the person that they're going after, by the way, ChaCha. It was a person called Ad-Free, who was obviously with the SOX agency. They were essentially accusing them of saying that she was inferior and saying that that was targeted towards her or whatever. But they even kind of find out that this wasn't even ad-free in the first place. They even said this, right? They say there was a 3-day Minecraft faction PvP event featuring 3 distinct factions: Wilders, military, and scientists. Intense in-character banter and trash talk between factions are common expectations of the roleplay genre than malicious attacks. All 3 factions engaged in this behavior as part of the competitive atmosphere throughout the 3 days, and if someone ever took it too far and turned into hate speech or targeting specific individuals, staff would reprimand said individual and remove them from the server. So yeah, they had like some good levels of kind of moderation there. They say the specific comments in the clip regarding small brains were made by the player in the video, who, like ad-free, was playing a wilder gone scientist. The player involved confirmed this intent, stating, I quite literally was making fun of myself because I started as a wilder, so I was the small brain in the room. They say, in private DMs prior to the ticket investigation, ChaCha stated that lots of people have been calling us inferior. This admission confirms that she was aware the term was being used broadly by the opposing faction against the Wilders group as a whole. Terminology. ChaCha alleged that ad-free used the word inferior. We found no evidence of ad-free using this term towards her. However, regarding the term itself, inferior is a standard adjective meaning lower in rank, status, or quality. In the context of competitive PvP, faction war, this is standard terminology used to denote an opposing team's skill or ranking. In the ticket, ChaCha explicitly rejected the validity of roleplay context, entirely asking, "Are you calling people inferior is okay if it's roleplay?" After I asked, "May I ask, was it in reference of faction RP?" They said, "Resolution. I informed ChaCha that while we take this report seriously, we could not find a any violation." So I explicitly stated that that we would not stop her from going public if she felt that she needed to, as we believe in open communication. And obviously, we know what happened whenever she went public, right? Said, while we respected the right to voice concerns, we definitely do not support the targeted behavior currently being exhibited. Said the public accusation relies on a highly zoomed in chaotic 3-second snippet. In this clip, multiple conversations overlap and the visual is obscured. Adfree's character is not visible in the scene because we cannot see who is speaking and the audio is chaotic. It is factually impossible to verify whether Adfree is the speaker. Attributing a specific voice to her in this chaos is a massive stretch and does not constitute valid evidence. They say audio context, even if one strains to isolate the faint background voice in this chaotic clip, the phrase audible is they are inferior, we are just better. This phrasing explicitly links to the word inferior to a competitive comparison of skill and faction strength. Better, uttering the sentiment privately among teammates is a standard morale building, not a targeted slur. However, again, we cannot verify it was Adfree that said this. And said, obviously, yeah, unprofessional escalation. ChaCha claims that she contacted the SVA owner. And obviously, in her messages, ChaCha admitted that she's going to hunt down clips and things, which is crazy. And yeah, obviously, the screenshot of the conversation shows Flork enforcing a standard of professional boundary, refusing to allow personal conflict. Art tag misuse. Furthermore, the misuse of Adfree's dedicated art tags to spread the accusations is inappropriate. Art tags are safe spaces for the community creativity and should not be polluted while with call-out posts. So yeah, that was also another thing. I didn't even notice that whenever the post originally came out, they were using Adfree's art tags to essentially get our audience to see this, which is pretty scummy. And they say, we stand definitively by our investigation. It is unacceptable that the situation defined by manipulative evidence and misidentification has escalated to the point where independent event staff must intervene to correct the public record. We expect all participants to adhere to the professional standards, and we will not validate the use of misinformation to target community members or external agency leadership. So yeah, that is everything that they had to say about that. Again, it pretty much clears up everything to do with the situation. If you guys didn't even kind of have a clue already, right? I feel like most people are pretty much already against ChaCha and exactly what she is spreading because people can see right through it, right? But yeah, obviously this provides a little bit more context on how everything went down with the official tickets and how it all got kind of sorted. So it seems like obviously, you know, they tried to sort it out within a ticket, within support, and then that's whenever ChaCha obviously decided to go public and then messaged Flork, and then it just kind of went into a big spiral. But obviously, as you know, this tweet has now been deleted and they're now claiming that they're in the hospital, which obviously many people aren't buying at the moment. And I do think it is, an attempt to kind of get a little bit of sympathy at a time where there is a lot of backlash going her way. But again, I thought this was a very interesting situation, so I kind of wanted to give you guys an update on what was going on, as it seems like there's a lot of kind of factors and stuff that are getting involved. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, go to GameSubs, use my code Kaza, get 10% off. Again, they got a ton of really cool stuff over there. Definitely recommend checking it out. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.